Hi everyone, it's Brittany from the Verb Learning Services, and I'm here with your vocabulary and grammar lesson from parts 2, 3, and 4 from the novel Wonder, which we're reading in our online English Language Learners book club here at the start of 2021. This time the lesson is going to be done through Nearpod, so I'm going to actually share with you the code so that you can join this interactive lesson and work through some of the activities at your own pace. So we're going to start off with some vocabulary, and our first phrase this week is not a biggie. Not a biggie. So here's where we see it in the novel. It's the part where we're reading from Summer's perspective, and she's talking about sitting with Augie at lunch. It's hard enough being the new kid, even when you have a normal face. Imagine having his face. So I just went over and sat with him. Not a biggie. I wish people would stop trying to turn it into something major. He's just a kid. The weirdest looking kid I've ever seen, yes, but just a kid. So this phrase, not a biggie, is very similar to some other variations like not a big deal, no big deal, and no biggie. We use it as an adjective, and it just means it's not a problem, not a big issue. It's not something that's concerning or complicated. Here are a few examples. I lost the book you gave me. Not a biggie, I had 2 copies. Okay, so you lost this time. Not a biggie, it's just a game. It means don't stress over it. It's not a big deal. The next one is kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer. So here is where we see it in the text. Again, this is Summer talking about being invited to the popular kids' Halloween party. She says, the only negative about going to Savannah's party was that now I wouldn't be able to go to the parade and the unicorn costume would be wasted. That was kind of a bummer, but okay. So this is a noun that means a disappointment. Okay, and sometimes you might hear people say, what a bummer. We use kind of to soften something so that it doesn't sound too harsh or direct. So kind of a bummer is like, it's not great, but it's not the worst. Sometimes you might hear people say, it's a major bummer or a huge bummer. So that means like it's extremely disappointing. Here's another example. It's kind of a bummer that we lost, but not a biggie. See what I did there? 2 in 1. Her new shirt got a rip already? What a bummer. And our last vocabulary phrase for this lesson is sit with it. Sit with it. So here's the example. This is Jack and his mom having a conversation about meeting Augie or showing Augie the school. Well, I'm not going to force you, she said, but at least think about it some more, okay? I'm not calling Mr. Tushman until tomorrow, so just sit with it a bit. This is very similar to another phrase you might have heard, to sleep on it. It's a phrasal verb, and we use it when we need some extra time to think about an idea or a decision. For example, that's an interesting proposition. Let me sit with it and get back to you. Or, can you believe that? Just sit with it for a minute. And that means that, it's something that's so unbelievable or surprising that you need time to really process it and think about it. Okay, and here we are with the grammar lesson from parts 2 to 4. I noticed that there was a lot of use of the grammar tense past perfect in this section. So that's what I thought we could focus on this week. Past perfect is used when there are more than one event in the past, and it's used to show which event happened first, okay? It's clarifying which event happened before the other. So for example, I had eaten before she arrived. This timeline is showing that here is the present And anything on this side of that little line means the past. So two things happen in the past, and it's showing that the person had eaten and then the other person arrived. Okay, so both of those things happen in the past. They're both complete actions. We use past perfect, I had eaten, to show that it came first. It can also be used to show the duration of a completed action. So the action has to be done in a time before now. I had waited for 2 hours before he arrived. And this is a visual here to show you that it was the 2 hours and it ended in the past before now. Okay, and here is an even more visual illustration for you from the website clarkandmiller.com. So there's two people talking, which we can assume is now. And the person is telling a story about something that happened in the past. So this is one event in the past, and then this is what happened prior to that. So when I woke up, I saw it in my bedroom. Then I remembered what had happened. So the thing that had happened was before they woke up and before now, when they're telling their friend the story. The way that we form past perfect is by using had with the past participle. So the past participle means the third form of the verb. So for example, the verb go has the past tense went, and then the past participle is gone. So you had already gone to bed when I came home, or when I came home, you had already gone to bed. So there's a few things to notice here. One is that we don't usually put both past events in the past perfect form. So you had already gone to bed is the action that happened earliest. So that's past perfect. But the other one is just simple past. I came home. It also doesn't matter which one you put first in the sentence because the past perfect aspect is going to show us which one happened first. If you put the clause or the part of the sentence that has past simple first, you have to use a comma. When I came home, comma, you had already gone to bed. So from the text, here is the example where Summer uses the past perfect a lot. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. Okay, so this is all before August is coming to her house. I did this because I know she's not so good at faking her feelings, and August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it, but I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. Okay, so two events. She came home and Summer hadn't prepared her enough. So the lack of preparing happened before the mom came home. Okay, here is a matching activity to practice past participles that you can do on your own. So you would just find the base verb and the past participle and match them together. So for example, you have, and you would match it with had, which is its past participle. Okay, then there's some other resources here with some more explanation and practice activities for past perfect. And then there's even a little quiz here. So for example, which action happened first? By the time you arrived, we'd already eaten. So what happened first? You arrived or we ate? And there's a few more questions like that, which I will let you figure out on your own. And there's a little note here about time expressions that we commonly use. So as you could have seen from the examples, we had already eaten when you arrived, and there's certain time expressions that we use. So this question is saying which one does not make sense with the past perfect, by the time, currently, or when. And I'll let you figure that out on your own. Okay, and then here's a little bonus. In this book, I noticed that they use air quotes a lot. So this hand motion is used to represent these quotation marks, okay, on either side of a sentence when someone's speaking, okay? This is an image from the movie Austin Powers from the 90s. The character Dr. Evil liked to do this action a lot. Maybe you can find some clips on YouTube. Okay, so here we go. Here's the example. We'd started walking through the crowd of kids and parents, most of whom were noticing me, secretly pointing me out to each other. Okay, so this is when August is noticing that a lot of people are looking at him. And the reason he uses air quotes to say secretly pointing me out is that you mean it a little bit sarcastically or like the opposite of what's true. So those people believed that they're being discreet or secretive, but they were actually being very obvious, and Augie could tell that they were all looking at him. So he says, secretly. And there is a link here to an example from the show Friends, which is pretty funny, and it clarifies it even more and just shows you how the character Joey needs to learn what air quotes mean as well. All right, so that is all for the lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I'm looking forward to reading a few more chapters of this book. I know most of you that are participating are already done, but you're ahead of me. Anyway, enjoy.